Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. At the beginning of this month, Poland had over 35,000 coronavirus infections a day, the highest number recorded. The number dropped to about 10,000 recently, and the Minister of Health hopes that the downward trend will continue. The government plans to restore some services and hybrid learning is being implemented for pupils apart from in the 5 most severely affected provinces in the country. Meanwhile, the Minister of Science and Education also announced that the college and university matura, or final exams, as well as the 8th grade primary school exams, will take place as scheduled.
The pandemic restrictions put in place to flatten the curve will remain in force in 5 provinces most affected by the pandemic, while in the remaining areas, many services and schools can be expected to operate as of April 26. Health Minister Adam Niedzielski announced at a press conference today. The health minister said that the number of coronavirus infections in Poland has been decreasing and that the situation in hospitals has also been improving. This is a very cautious step that we take to test the effect of loosening the restrictions. The situation is critical. Plenty of people are still in the hospital. The changes concern the following provinces: Małopolskie, Zachodniopomorskie, Kujawsko-Pomorskie, Mazowieckie, Świętokrzyskie, Lubuskie-Pomorskie, Lubelskie, Warmińsko-Mazurskie, Podkarpackie, and Polackie. Cultural institutions are to be open after the 1st of May weekend. Next week, the government will present the possible scenarios concerning the reopening of gastronomy, hotel services, and other sectors, and even the possibility of lifting regulations regarding wearing face covering outdoors. The Minister of Education and Science, Przemysław Czarnek, also announced that the Matura exams will be held according to schedule. The Matura exam will take place from May 4th to 20th, and the 8th grade exam from May 25th to 27th. There is no reason to change the schedule and not to conduct the exams in the previously adopted procedure. Schools are ready for students to return. School rooms are disinfected. We are also ready when it comes to the entire infrastructure, i.e. disinfectants, masks, a thermometer to measure temperature. Most of us are looking forward to the next easing of restrictions. Some businesses need to be open because it is a tragedy now. More freedom because one could go somewhere. The point is whether it will help when the restrictions are lifted. As soon as possible. I wish it were all abolished, that it was all logical to keep that way. In order to lift the restrictions as soon as possible, as you can see, we must eat takeaway meals. I just haven't had clients for a few months and I still have bills to pay. The masks are also annoying because it is getting warm now and you are sweating in the mask.
The Ministry of Health has announced 13,926 new COVID-19 infections and a further 740 deaths. The numbers of the new infections are continuing to fall significantly. At the same time, more and more people are receiving their vaccinations. The total number of ministers has reached 9,200,000, with approximately 200,000 doses being distributed each day.
The SARS-CoV-2 pandemic has already reached approximately 2,700,000 people. The virus has caused the death of 63,473 people. The vaccination program is underway with 9,200,000 doses distributed. 7,700,000 patients have received the first dose and 2,340,000 both doses.
The briefing on the tense situation on the Ukraine-Russia border, convened by President Andrzej Duda, began on Wednesday afternoon in Warsaw. The briefing was attended by the Chief of the General Staff of the Polish Armed Forces, the senior commanders of the army, and the heads of the other services.
The briefing held today was focused on the concentration of Russian troops on the border with Ukraine. According to the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the number of Russian troops will soon exceed 120,000. Ukraine called on the Western world this Tuesday to impose new sanctions on Russia. The situation related to the transfer of Russian troops to the areas bordering Ukraine was the topic of talks between the head of the National Security Bureau, Paweł Soloch, and the Secretary of National Security Defense Council of Ukraine, Oleksiy, Danilov, yesterday.
The German Constitutional Court has dismissed the legal challenges to the European Union's recovery plan, effectively paving the way for the €790 billion stimulus to be rolled out across the Union.
Earlier this year, a group of Eurosceptic citizens highlighted concerns that the additional borrowing could become a permanent feature in the EU policymaking. However, the German court concluded that the decision is of a temporary nature. Limits apply according to the volume, duration, and purpose of the borrowing to which the European Commission is authorized, as well as regarding possible liabilities incurred by Germany, the Constitutional Court said. In Poland, ratification of European stimulus also became a political issue. The ruling coalition is split regarding the issue, and the opposition declared it would be voting against it in hopes of toppling the government. The decision of the German Constitutional Tribunal means that there is not much time left for Polish lawmakers to make a decision.
After a little over 10 hours of deliberation, a jury on Tuesday found former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty of the second-degree murder, third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter of George Floyd, who died while being restrained by Chauvin following his arrest.
The jury considered 3 separate charges: second-degree murder, defined by unintentional while committing a felony, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. They found Chauvin guilty on all 3. On May 25th, Chauvin and 3 other officers arrested and detained Floyd after he allegedly gave counterfeit money at a convenience store. Following a struggle to get Floyd into the back of a police cruiser, a viral video shows that Chauvin kneeled on Floyd's neck and back for nearly 9 minutes to detain Floyd while awaiting paramedics. Chauvin's attorney Eric Nielsen argued during the trial that Floyd's drug use and bad heart were crucial factors in his death, and that Chauvin used reasonable force through an authorized prone hold. The Hennepin County medical examiner revealed that Floyd's autopsy showed the deceased had potentially lethal levels of drugs in his system. Controversy about the verdict comes in the form of questioning the media's attempt at manipulating the facts of the case, building narrative by allowing the video shot by a bystander to echo around the internet while withholding the police body cam footage of Floyd's arrest that shows the incident in a different light. Some argue that the trial was tainted due to the involvement of violent protests and the potential of large-scale cross-country riot had the jury produced a different verdict. Also controversial is the involvement of sitting US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris's implied support for a guilty verdict. While the US representative for California's 43rd Congressional District, Maxine Waters, urged protesters to be openly confrontational in demanding Chauvin to be found guilty.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.